Time to get your fix. It's the Horrible Gaming Awards. With Zachariah, a tiny wizard, and Phil Billy too. We're getting down with the foundation. It's what we're gonna do, yeah! Horrible Gaming Awards.
Welcome to the 7th Annual Horrible Game Awards. Now your hosts, Zachariah, Neil, aka Tiny Wizard, and the Build Master, Phil Billy Free-Free-O.
Hello! Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming. You have all decided to tune into another Horrible Game Awards. That's right, this, I believe the 7th Annual Horrible Game Awards. You guys know what... Yeah, I know, right? You guys know what that means. That means that the Triforce is complete. The Triforce is complete. We welcome Phil Billy 330, the Buildmaster General, our third Foundation member. Phil Billy, welcome.
I am alive. What's up, old man?
Hey! He's still alive. Yay! He just had a busy year, guys. He's had a busy year. We're all old people here on this channel. We get it. And the person who said hooray first, you guys should all know well as Neil, a.k.a. Tiny Wizard.
Hey, bub.
Yeah. So it's that time of year again, guys. The Horrible Game Awards. We take this tradition very seriously here, and we're going to get into it today. We're going to go through our categories, 8 categories to be specific, and these categories were chosen. Well, not the categories, but the awards in the categories were chosen by you guys, the fans of this channel, and we also got to put our 2 cents in because we put the work in. Yeah, just so you guys know, each one of these categories has its own specific idea, but the way we usually do it is I pick 10 people from our community. 3 of those people you see in front of you, and then the other 7 are people who contribute to the channel, to the show, stuff like that. And then these people... we all get to nominate 3 in each category. Then we formulate a nomination list based on double nominations, stuff like that. And then we all get a certain number of votes. We also take into account any write-in votes that you guys, the fans, decide to throw our way. So yes, we're going to get into it. I also just want to say I cannot believe that we've done this 7 times.
Yes. Yes.
That's pretty impressive, I think, all the way around.
3 more
And people
years.
still watch.
Yeah, that too. That too.
It's insane. It's insane. Anytime I get more than 10 views, I'm like, why are people watching this? Like, holy crap, who took the time out of their day to enjoy this? But we are definitely glad you guys do. So this is it. We're going to do it. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to get into our next award.
Best New IP of 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our first award tonight that we are nominating tonight. We're starting it off with new IP. What are the rules for this category? It has to be a brand new IP. This game that comes out that is nominated has to be a brand new intellectual property that started in 2025. And this IP has to not be a spin-off or a sequel or anything like that. It has to be something new, something fresh that is brought to the table. That's one of the things that I like about this is it's so hard to find them nowadays. So, Phil Billy, Buildmaster General, why don't you read off those nominees to us, and then we'll chat about them.
Okay. Zach, where are they?
Oh no!
Pause.
Pause. Don't worry, everybody. We handled that. We're back.
My bad.
It's funny when you go when two of us go, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" And the other one's like, "Yeah," and then you realize neither one of you are set up for that thing to be done. All right, so Philly, read us off those nominees.
Okay, so 2025's nominees for new IP are Alters, Adamfall, Absalom, and Arc Raiders.
Okay, who wants to go first to talk about these?
Well, I've only played one of them, but I am familiar a little bit at least with three of them. So Absalom, of course, is one that was, of course, Zach's favorite game out there, and
Just is. I love that game so much.
but I definitely got into it here too, and I definitely have fallen into a little bit of a trap with that. Granted, my time's been a bit restricted lately, but I can see the appeal of it, and I'm Mr. Established IP, like when it comes to games out there. Alters is a great concept. It's a great idea. Not my bag per se, but Adamfall was, everybody wants a Fallout game, man, and we haven't gotten one, so somebody else decided to do it.
Yeah.
Isn't Adamfall in Exile?
No. Adamfall is something else. I can't remember what studio they are, honestly.
I'm
have to
going
look
to the
them up.
Google machine.
Yeah, due to the Google machine. Do you mind if I go second there, Phil? Okay, so first of all, yeah, Absalom's my 10 out of 10. Again,
Rebellion Developments.
thanks to the Quantum Studio, I've recorded something you guys are going to see in the future, in which I say the following words. Anybody who ever wonders if I rig this list or rig these winners, wonder no more, because Absalom would sweep these awards if I rig it. It would win everything. It's like somebody reached into my brain and pulled out the game I wanted most in the world. So I love Absalom. Obviously, Absalom is on my list for new IP. Speaking about the other ones, Alters is one that I very much want to play that just never got around to. There was always something else pulling my time from it, but it is a really cool, interesting concept. It's almost time travel without the time travel, and I think that is really, really cool. I know it's a game about clones, like you're cloning yourself, but the whole concept is you're cloning yourself based on a choice you would have made differently in the past, which makes it kind of like time travel. And I love time plots, and I love creative ways to do time plots, and the idea of getting a bunch of yous that are different from you and then trying to make them all happy, I think it's just such an interesting self-contained concept. Adamfall, now I am going to rebut you slightly, Neil. While yes, it does look like a Fallout game
It's more Bioshock
on its core. I wouldn't even say it's Bioshocky. I have never played a game that is as open as Adamfall is. Adamfall literally is like, here's the last objective, go. And anything you do in it is permanent and changes the world. I think that's so cool. I think that you could play through that game 100,000 times. Your route from point A to point B is going to be completely different than somebody else's. And the way they do the directional storytelling, there's no objective map marker, where Fallout would have one, like, over here, that's what you need to do to complete the quest. It's all like, you find a piece of paper, you have to read that piece of paper to then learn where to go next. And, like, that is really interesting, cool stuff to me. And I think that's one of the reasons that it should be considered. And then Arc Raiders, I mean, it's hard not to see what Arc Raiders brings to the table, as far as just how into it people have gotten. Again, if you watch my review, I think that what makes Arc Raiders special is not necessarily the game, but the community that has decided to play it in the way that they have decided to play it. But still, there are no what do they call it? Escape shooters? Extraction shooters. Thank you. There are no extraction shooters that play in the same way as Arc Raiders, and that is really interesting to me. So, Philbilly, I know that your game time has been a little lapse this year, but what are your thoughts on this?
So Alters is completely new to me. I know of Absalom because of this channel and Zach's obsession with it. And
I am obsessed. I'll take that.
The beat 'em up style of the game. Adamfall is one that's since I saw it announced has been on my list of games I would like to play, but haven't gotten around to. And Arc Raiders is the game that stole the person that was playing the game that I'm currently playing away from me.
Oh, filthy. What are you doing?
He keeps telling me all this great stuff about it and trying to get me into it, and I just have not had the time to invest in that type of the game that you have to, build out a loadout and all that kind of stuff. But it does look cool. I'm not gonna knock him on that.
We don't have the time for it in this award show, but we usually have a bonus and end cutscene for the prediction show. Philbilly, I'll tell you why you'll hate that game.
Which one, Arc Raiders?
Arc Raiders. I'll tell you exactly why you'll hate that game. And that could be a bonus or an opening. That being said, it still definitely needs to be on here. So I think we've talked about it. Do you want to let us know who the winner is, sir?
Absolutely.
All right, I am handing you the proverbial fake envelope now.
All right. For the 2025 new IP, the winner is Absalom. Not rigged at all.
I rigged it.
Rigged it all.
I told you I was going to do it, and I did it. No. I didn't do it. I do say that I'm probably not the best choice of words on this specific category. You guys will all see why as the show progresses, because I am the only one who knows who all the winners are. But yeah, I am so happy Absalom won. Any final thoughts from either one of you guys before I read the votes?
No, sir.
No.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right, so votes, it was actually kind of a pretty close battle here. Absalom won by 2 votes with 9 votes. Second place had 7 votes. 6 votes. Jesus, I cannot count. I'm going to start from the top, guys. I'm sorry. Can I tell you something, everybody, that you guys are going to find funny? I am terrible. I love to use hash marks. I'm terrible at reading them. Because the hash that goes through the 4, that is 5, I never count it in my head. And I don't know why I do that. So when I go to look at it, I'll be like, I'll count it as 4 even though it's 5. I have no idea why I do this. It is stupid, but that's the truth. All right.
It's different. That is different.
So actually, Absalom won with 8 votes. Second place was Alters with 6 votes. Third place was Arc Raiders with 4 votes. And then finally, Adamfall was last place with 3 votes. So pretty close battle there, actually. It wasn't a blowout by any stretch of the imagination. But I will say I'm very happy Absalom won, because I love that game. I love it so much. I love it so much. All right, so with that down, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with another award.
Best soundtrack of the year 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more award. We don't have Phil Billy with us on this award, but he had to step out for a second.
Magic of the Quantum Studio.
Magic of the Quantum Studio, ladies and gentlemen. It never dies. None of our bits die. They only wither.
They only get brought up once a year now.
Yes, once a year. So this next award is my personal favorite award every year, and that is soundtrack, the best soundtrack. So to understand this nomination, this is the best soundtrack for any game or DLC that was released within the year of 2025, the year that we are currently in. Soundtrack, man. Why don't you go ahead and read us the nominees, and then we'll go ahead and talk about them.
All right, so the nominees this year for the best soundtrack, we have South of Midnight, Arc Raiders, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, and Absalom.
The storm has sung, but the river's raging. Long days been just contemplating what will be when you are sinking. Pulled down by your secret sinning, under waters deep and unforgiven. The past may clear, there's no denying. Clusters of what's long forgotten, twisted things and lonesome dreams. Clusters of what's long forgotten, 'cause two times a coming.
Pretty solid this time round. I will say I'm not, at least not familiar with all of these, though I mean, Claire Obscure, I still listen to that music on the regular.
Mhm.
It's actually the music is what got me to play the game, fun fact. Then Absalom, just because we just went through and recorded a little bit of Streets of Retro now that we can actually got our stuff figured out and how we can do it. The soundtrack for Absalom is absolutely wonderful. It just kind of flows with everything as it's going in the background. Everything is set. It scales as things progress. It's absolutely wonderful. And South of Midnight is one of those games that I regret that I did not get a chance to play before Game Pass hiked its price up, because I have heard I've heard a lot about that game and how the music plays such a huge part of it.
So, yeah. So here's the deal. I have actually played 3 out of the 4 of these games. The Absalom, I'm not going to argue. Absalom would have swept this year if these awards, and I could say very clearly to anybody out there who potentially has any thought that I rigged these awards in any way, shape, or form. I will tell you right now, if I did, every one of these games, every one of these categories would have Absalom as the winner. Absalom was my perfect game this year. It absolutely spoke to me. It's a transcendent 2D brawler. I don't feel like, at least for me, that there has been a better game in many, 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 many years. And don't get me wrong, Baldur's Gate 3 is a great game, and stuff like that is a great game. I mean, this game is somebody was reached into my brain and was like, what do you want to play? That being said, it is an absolutely knockdown, drag out soundtrack. But to go even one step further with the South of Midnight, it's the exact same thing. The music will slowly build in that game to the point where I would honestly say that game would not be that game without that music. The music truly makes South of Midnight. It is a game that is set in the kind of deep South kind of mythos and folklore there. And what you have in every level is you have this slow tune that starts with just a couple of chords and then slowly adds instruments and vocals and beats till you get to the boss, in which case you see the whole song, and it's amazing. It's almost
I'm
almost
a sucker for that shit.
Every level is like a puzzle, and you're trying to uncover the absolute genius song underneath. Arc Raiders, I'm kind of thoroughly surprised that this got a nomination this year for soundtrack. I don't hate Arc Raiders. You guys can go check out my review for that, honestly. I think it's one of the most interesting shooters that we've ever seen, but I think that's because of the player base, not necessarily the game itself. That being said, the soundtrack is very synth-wavy, kind of 80s neo sci-fi sort of stuff, kind of very Logan's Runny, and I think that it's interesting because it does fit. It does fit, and it does what it's supposed to do really well. I never really would have on my own thought of this for best soundtrack, but I do think that this soundtrack truly encapsulates the game that it is. And then finally, Claire Obscure. I did not play it, but I did get to... Again, the reason this is my favorite category is when I'm going to put the nomination video together, I have to go scrub a bunch of music from the 4 nominees. And I get to go listen to some different game soundtracks, just core game soundtracks on their own by themselves, and that's just so much fun. And then find the best bits of the songs to record for our video. I love doing that. It's one of my favorite things to do in this entire process, and I'd love to experience it because then I find things. Last year we nominated the Hunt Showdown for music. And I had to go find the songs from Hunt Showdown, and I did, and I love them so much they're on my playlist now. So they're on a playlist on Spotify for me. I love that part of this process, so I love this category. So do you have anything more to add to that, my friend?
I do not. It's pretty well summed up. And I will say now, I feel like I want to listen to the Arc Raiders soundtrack because I've been listening to a lot of that weird, like almost like 80s synth wave sort of stuff.
It's right up that alley. It's right up
Yeah.
that alley. It's very like do 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 do, like it's very like almost like the Stranger Things opening theme, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. Like it's very much like that. So okay, so drum roll. I am going to metaphorically. We forgot to do this on the other one, but metaphorically hand Neil the envelope. So Neil, why don't you go ahead and tell us who wins?
All right. The winner for the best soundtrack is going to be South of Midnight.
Yes, yes, yes. Huzzah, huzzah. Quantum Studio goes wild. I
Quantum Studio goes wild.
do not think for a second that there is any game more deserving of that. And I love the soundtracks of the other three games in this category, but South of Midnight, like I said, like the game itself, the spinal cord of that game is its soundtrack. And
100%.
and the soundtrack doesn't fail. Like that's the thing. Like it is absolute banger after banger after banger. I love the fact that it always builds to a song about the boss you're fighting. There is a boss in that game that you fight that's a giant crocodile or alligator, I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure it's crocodile, whatever. I have the theme song for that boss fight on like heavy rotation in my Spotify, and I've had it there long before this. Just like the minute I heard it, I was like, I've got to have that in my rotation. Tuto Tom is one of the best tracks. So yeah, so you want to know the votes for this one?
I would love to know the votes for this one.
This one was a little bit more of a blowout. So we had South of Midnight won with 9 votes. So it's a very clear-cut favorite as far as it goes for soundtrack. Our second place was actually Claire Obscure Expedition 33 with 6 votes. And then we have a 2-way tie for third place between Arc Raiders and Absalom with 3 votes each. So a tricky situation, but I think I don't think this takes anything away from the other games to say that South of Midnight was just that's what that game was, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the great thing about some of these categories is like some of these categories are like clearly showing that they are superior in some way, but I feel like with music, it's one of those that you stand out.
Yep.
So much so that's not like beating anything else down.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with another award.
Best of Performance 2025.
All right. So our next award right now, obviously, our third member, Phil Billy, is not currently with us. He's just had to step away for a second. But me and Neil are going to handle this award ourselves. And this award is for Best Performance in Gaming. So just to give you the rules on this one, as I always do, Best Performance in Gaming means the best performance in gaming from this current year, 2025. It's an interesting field, interesting few games. You want me to read out the nominees here, Neil?
Yes.
All right. So, for Best Performance, the nominees are The Unknown Operator, Atomfall, Charlie Cox as Gustav in Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I'm going to have to say that a lot. Jennifer English as Mael in Claire Obscure Expedition 33. And then finally, Gianni Matragrano for Sebastian in Pressure, which is specifically a Roblox game.
Oberon must die. Oberon must die.
68. Elodie's expedition.
You know the commanders of every expedition.
Expedition 68. Their boat was blown into the air by a storm. Lumiere lost sight of it, but assumed they crashed on the continent.
And they survived. The storm, at least.
All right, let's keep moving. We found the weird corals. Mael must be close by.
Being out here isn't what I expected.
As expected. Hey. You okay?
Death out here's not like death in Lumiere, is it? I thought I was used to losing people. I've have a foster child, right? But not like that. On the beach. That man.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. Nevrons we were prepared for, but not. And now we've finally found other survivors, and it's... You know, that's the insidious thing about the Gommage. It's predictable, almost gentle. It makes Lumiere complacent and accepting, but... The Gommage is equally violent, and death... Death is just as final.
Oh, hi. Get this. I found your corpse a bit ago. Great haul, lots of goodies to pillage. Took your items, replaced the batteries, good as new. Don't worry, you can have it back. For a price, of course. You really suck at this, huh? My condolences to the poor schmuck who has to scrape your smear off that thing's foot.
So this is a really, really interesting category this year. I think this is one of the few years where we've had dual nominations from like one game, which Claire Obscure is a regular on this list throughout and throughout. But yeah, so we're down to these four. What do you think about them, Neil?
So I'm very curious about the unknown operator. Like, that is the individual's name.
Okay.
That is.
So I did some research on this. Because I nominated this. A couple other people nominated this guy. But just for everybody out there, this will be a fun little anecdote. When I'm making people nominate for best performance, I don't make them give me the name of the actor. You don't have to go hunt it down. I'll hunt it down later. You just tell me the character in the game, and then if it's a double nomination and they make it onto the list, I go hunt down the actors' names. So, I scoured the internet. It is not listed who voices this character. There's no listed voice actor for this character. To the point where like there's Reddit threads about it and all sorts of stuff. He kind of sounds like Brian Cox, the actor. I don't know. He was in the very first the very second X-Men movie. He was the bad guy, the Stryker general. He's been in a lot of things. You know him if you looked him up. But he's got a very intense kind of British voice. That's what it sounded like to me. That's who I was expecting to see. But there is no actor actually listed as this character. And again, just so that you all know, the way the nomination process works is once when everybody nominates things, everybody gets to nominate 3 things from each category. And every time there's a double nomination, it kind of counts as an extra tally. So the way I put them on the list is any with the most tallies get on the list. This guy had 3 tallies. He's got to be on the list, but he does not exist that I can find anywhere. And honestly, for anybody who played Adam Fall, he was arguably the best part about it, is this weird disembodied voice on the phone that you never even find out who he is throughout the course of the game. Spoiler. It is a very interesting character, to say the least.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
That is very interesting. I had that. I never even heard anything like that before about that.
True mystery.
So yeah, very strange. So from there, Charlie Cox as Gustav. I mean, he definitely did a good job. I did play Claire Obscure, so I know quite a bit about it. But I feel like I'm really pulling for Jennifer English because I feel like she got overshadowed as Shadowheart in Baldur's Gate. So I feel like she is a bit deserving because she also like blew this out of the water too.
Well, and she could get nominated next year for Cosmic Invasion.
Oh.
Yeah, she's voices in that as well. And then Gianni Matrigano. So I'm going to talk about him because I know you don't know anything about him.
Nope.
I tried to include, so another thing, when I do the nominations video, I try to include like good samples of like a performance for the character. Same with the soundtracks, because a lot of our people who watch this, like there's one or two games that make the list that you've played, and then you know what I mean, like just so that when we get to that voting, you actually have a good sample. This guy makes this game on Roblox. My kid came to me. I play very few Roblox games. She was like, you have to play this game with me. You absolutely have to. It's so much fun. So I was like, I'll give it a shot. I actually played it with her quite a few times. It is one of the most fun games, one of the most fun times I've ever had on Roblox. And this is the kind of game that I wish this game was just its own game. And this entire experience of this game is held together by this Gianni Matrigano, who plays this like insidious, sarcastic background character. The game is a horror game where you are in this underground water station that's infested with monsters and ghosts and stuff, and you are trying to collect as much stuff as you can before one of those ghosts kills you, and you're trying to get as deep into the underground base as you possibly can. And every time you die, this character, Sebastian, shows up, and you get a little bit more information about the thing that killed you, so that maybe next time you don't die. But he makes some sort of weird quippy comment about how you're an idiot for dying. And he really does tie that game together, completely tie that game together. So are we ready to decide who the winner is of this one?
Well, I mean, we aren't deciding. It's already been decided.
It has been
ready
decided.
to find out.
Let's find out. Let's find out. So, the winner of 2025 Horrible Game Award for Best Performance in Gaming is...
Dramatic pause.
Charlie Cox as Gustav in Claire Obscure.
Cox, interesting.
And
very interesting.
It gets even more interesting, my friend, because this was the most highly contested award that we had.
Oh, really?
It was decided by one vote.
Oh, my.
Quite literally one vote. And I was not the deciding vote. So here's the thing. I do want to say this. I did not play Claire Obscure. I have some negative things to say about Claire Obscure that I'm not going to waste on this show, because this is a show of positivity. But that being said, there was a lot of Claire Obscure on our list this year. So really all I saw from this guy was what I saw when I was doing my sampling. And it was great. I mean, Charlie Cox is a great actor. He does some great stuff. What I think really locked him in for me was the best soundbite I could find of Jennifer English has a ton of good voice work from Charlie Cox as well. So like it's very interesting that you kind of get a double dose of him on that. But do you want to hear what the votes were?
Oh, yes.
The votes for this were 6 was the winning votes for Charlie Cox. And then a 3-way tie for second with 5 votes each. Yeah, there was a real barn burner of a category all the way down to the last.
It's absolutely insane. I think that's probably like one of the craziest votes we've ever had when doing the the awards, because I know there's been some pretty close ones before. I've never had a 3-way tie for second place.
I don't remember there ever being one. No. We did have some close categories, as we usually do. I will say it's always kind of interesting here. I think with the exception of Baldur's Gate 3 year, we've never really had just like a blowout year. You know what I mean? And
right.
In all fairness, as much as I thought one game was going to kind of sweep, it didn't. So that's kind of cool. So yeah, I do. It's one of the things I love about our award show. It is really for our fans, by our fans.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick little break. We'll be right back with another award.
Best Developer 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, brings us to another award. This award is Best Developer. I know it's not the flashiest. It's not the flashiest of our 8, but it's an important one. It's a chance for our community to honor the developers that they think are good, that they think actually contribute to gaming and not, suck the ever-loving life out of it. So with that being said, let's find out who the nominees are. Buildmaster, if you wouldn't mind.
Absolutely not. The nominees for 2025 Horrible Gaming Awards Developer of the Year are Sandfall, Dotemu, Hello Games, and Embark Studios.
Okay, all right. So I'm going to take the lead on this because I know what all of these guys have done, and then you guys can contribute. Sandfall made Claire Obscure. Okay, that is why that is on this list. Dotemu made both Absalom and Cosmic Invasion this year. They published them both. Hello Games, No Man's Sky. We all know who they are. And then finally, Embark Studios are behind Arc Raiders. That is their claim to fame. So I guess let's go to Neil first. What are your thoughts on these developers?
I mean, overall, everybody's had a pretty solid year. I mean, Sandfall with Claire Obscure, like they actively are like, yeah, this game was not supposed to be as big as everybody's making it out to be, as like a AA fare. Dotemu, they are. Not only we have Absalom, like you were talking about, Cosmic Invasion, which technically can't be on the Game Awards that we're doing here.
But already on my list for next year.
Anyways, man, they've single-handedly revived the side-scrolling beat-em-ups, in my personal opinion.
Yes.
From there, Hello Games, they do not give up. Even when literally faced with threats against their lives. But I feel like they've got that goodwill now from all the work that they've put into No Man's Sky and what they continue to work on. And then Embark Studios, Arc Raiders, I hear about, but I honestly don't even know, what it even looks like, but I know a lot of people are playing it right now.
It's not a Neil game. I can assure you it's not a Neil game. Okay. Phil, what do you have to say about these studios?
Honestly, so now that you've told me I know what they made, but I haven't been following the developers closely enough this year to know that one is doing right by its community versus another, so my input is limited.
I get that. I will go ahead and share mine then. Sandfall met Claire Obscure. I have secret thoughts about Claire Obscure that I'm not going to share on this award show. That being said, it is a AA game that has kind of transcended into AAA space. It has been nominated for all the awards, and they've kind of come out of nowhere. I had never heard of Sandfall before this, so this is hell of a way to superhero drop into the category. Dotemu is one of the greatest publishers, the greatest publisher of 2D brawlers. in a world where we did not have a ton of 2D brawlers, they came out with a little thing called Streets of Rage 4. And then everybody was like, oh, we can do these games again. Then they came out, they published through Tribute Games, Shredder's Revenge. So arguably, then of course, Absalom and Cosmic Invasion, arguably the 4 greatest beat-em-ups of the last 5 years, possibly of all time. Hard, and the leader of the beat-em-up renaissance. Hard not to kind of, look at their contributions in that way. Hello Games does not know how to die. Not only does it not know how to die, but it has built a house on its own corpse. Like, it is the Voyagers update. Like, everybody was like, every time Hello Games releases an update, they're like, okay, now they're done. They're going to move to Light No Fire. And then we get another surprise update that changes the way you play No Man's Sky. The Voyagers update was absolutely mega. Like, the fact that you can build your own ship from scratch and then do spacewalks, it just revitalized the game. Brought so many new players to this game that is, 10, 11 years old at this point. No Man's Sky continues to be a beacon in, ongoing support for a game, which is hilarious because it's not even really like a games as a service. So it's very interesting. And then Embark, yes, it's brought Arc Raiders to the table. I will say this for Embark. There are some things I hate about Arc Raiders, and there are some things that I hate the way that they do it on the storefront. But the one thing I will say about Embark is they are incredibly good at listening to their audience and creating events and interaction with that audience. I would say not quite as good as Helldivers, and Arrow Studios, but like the way they create events and get player engagement is really good. It's obviously they're listening to their audience and they're creating those events, which is nice. So, that being said, Phil, are you ready for the fictional envelope?
I am indeed.
I am handing it through the quantum chute.
The winner of the 2025 Horrible Gaming Awards Developer of the Year is Embark.
Yeah, they get the win with Arc Raiders. I don't know how much I could say about this. I think I think there are these moments with the way we do these awards that the three of us get to a winner where none of us necessarily know how to react to that. But I think it definitely says something that all of our community kind of came together and voted for them to win, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So you guys want to know the votes?
Sure.
All right, Embark won with 6 votes. Then there was a 2-way tie for second place with 5 votes between Datamu and Hello Games. And then Sandfall had 2 votes. Really, really, really interesting voting. I think one of the things that cost Sandfall anything is it was a runaway hit. But that's it. You know what I mean? Like, they had a runaway hit. It wasn't necessarily like they made a good game. Whereas the other 3 of these studios have kind of much more sustained track records.
Yeah, 100%.
So, all right. Well, that award. Any final thoughts from either one of you?
No, sir.
Nope.
All right. We will move on, ladies and gentlemen, to Best Narrative. And then we get into the big 3.
Best Narrative 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our next award. That is the Best Narrative of 2025. So the way that you get nominated for this is you must be the best a game or DLC, and the criteria for it is that it comes out this year. It's one of our year specifics, and that it tells the best or most interesting narrative in the most best or interesting way. That's how that we nominate for this category. So Neil, why don't you read off the nominees and then we will go from there.
So the nominees for the best narrative are Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, Alters, Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4, and Blue Prince.
All right. So, Philbilly, what do you have to say about these guys?
To be honest, the only one I'm pretty familiar with is Clair Obscur. To me, it looked like it was a cool game. Never got around to playing it, but I have heard that the narrative is very well done and engaging, and it keeps people wanting to continue to play to see where the resolution is. But as far as the others, unfortunately, this year I am a very limited input.
That's okay. That's all right. Whatever input you have is good input, my brother. Neil, would you like to talk next?
Yeah, so Clair Obscur, yeah, to what you were saying, the story is phenomenal, and Act 2 flips the entire story on its head. So from there too, like, they are not worried about having a game that's too much of a downer, because the whole thing is a downer, and even the end ends with a choice that are both bad endings. So a lot of people complained about that. Honestly, I appreciate the fact that they told the story that they wanted to tell, and the way that they did it was absolutely phenomenal.
Okay.
From there, Alters, like we were kind of talking about before or next, however the order winds up being on this. That it's such a cool idea, a way to tell a story of a person through the choices that they didn't make. It's very interesting concept.
Yeah.
Overall, Deltarune Chapters 3 and 4. I know that's my baby on there.
That's your baby. Yeah.
That is my baby on there.
If I might interrupt for just a second, this is the first year that my daughter has been able to participate and did participate in the committee voting. I was truly proud of how much thought she put into everything. But what was really funny is when I was reading off the narration to her, like, we watched the video together, and when it got to Deltarune, she was like, "Oh, that's Neil right there." My daughter knows you as the Toby Fox Deltarune Undertale guy.
Well, I guess I am obsessed with that sort of series. But yeah, a wonderful continuation of the story that's been going from chapter 1 all the way through, and it's now a story that's about halfway told and is continuing to be told. I will say, of course, you can't appreciate the story in this game unless you've played all the previous ones, because it's definitely part of a larger story. And Blue Prince, I heard a lot about Blue Prince, but I don't exactly know what it is overall. I'm actually woefully underinformed with Blue Prince. But I have heard it was very interesting. I
played it. I actually think I reviewed it. I'm not 100% positive. But, so these 4 games are interesting. I have only played actually one of these in this category, which was Blue Prince. Deltarune is an interesting... Toby Fox games, I don't like playing them. That being said, I think they're true works of art. I really do. My favorite way to ingest a Toby Fox game is to watch the Game Grumps play it. So, like, I've watched all of Undertale via Game Grumps playthroughs, and they have been slowly working through the Deltarune, so I've been watching it there. So I enjoy it. It's just, I watch how that game plays. That would not hold me for 10 seconds, but watching somebody else play it and then being in on the joke, that gets me. And I think that the writing of Deltarune is amazing. Alters, we've talked about the whole time travel thing. I think one of the most interesting things about our narrative category this year is you have 4 very different ways to tell a narrative. You have blueprints, which is all very site-based, kind of like roguelite, haunted house sort of stuff, moving through a house, learning puzzle by puzzle, piece by piece, and kind of putting it together in your own head without any talking or voice acting. You have Claire Obscure, which is a very cinematic experience, a very downer cinematic experience. You have Deltarune, which is a much more upbeat, sometimes downer, but much more upbeat, kind of almost comedic, well-written kind of old school bit game. And then you have Alters, which has this new kind of way of telling a story, a contained almost time travel clone story, which is really cool. I think that's one of the coolest things about this category this year is how it's kind of like 4 different ways to tell a story, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you guys have nothing left to say about it, I will quickly get to the envelope ready.
The digital envelope.
The digital envelope for the quantum. So, Neil, go ahead and let us know who won.
All right, and the winner, best narrative, goes to Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes. So I'll let you talk about it a little bit because I have thoughts on Claire and I don't want this to become a negative show. So let's just keep.
So I honestly, what I would put it on is just like I was talking about before. I love the story, how the story is told, the emotional impact, how it deals with characters dealing with this perpetual yearly grief / loss. And the fact that they wrote everything in such a way to have such a massive, massive twist at the very end that completely recontextualizes everything, it is fantastic. Even the reveal of that was slowly breadcrumbed, and you don't even really realize it until you think you're beating the game.
I see. Do you have anything to add to that, Phil?
I do not. I don't.
It's all right. I think that yes. I also say that they tell it with a lot of just truly award-winning voice acting and voice performances too, which is always nice. The very cinematic cutscenes that they do. So for the voting, they won with 10 points, 10 votes, one of the highest vote counts. Then Deltarune was second place, with a healthy 7 points, 7 votes. So they were on there. They were in there. And then Alters brings it up with 4. Blueprints got no votes, once it was nominated. Yeah, it was a little bummer. I think we've only ever had a couple of games not get votes in the category.
Yeah, I think it's funny because that means somebody nominated something that they even didn't want to vote for.
I know who it was, and they had to nominate 3, and then when it came to voting, they wanted to give their 2 votes to something else, and I get why they did it, honestly.
Okay.
But I was a little bit more firmly in the Deltarune camp, so I didn't necessarily want to throw a pity vote to Blueprints. And I actually didn't love Blueprints. I liked the narration, just the game itself I found a little tedious. So I didn't end up voting for that one. All right. So that's it. We're down to the big ones, guys. We're down to the big 3. Are you guys ready to get into the big ones?
Oh, yes.
I know I'm excited. I'm excited.
You've now solidified it.
Totally ruined Future Zach's life. I've solidified the order. So the Quantum Studio giveth, and the Quantum Studio taketh away. Okay? Right now it's givingeth, but tomorrow it's going to taketh it away. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back with one of the big 3.
Single player experience of the year 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the big three. These are the final three awards, the Experience of the Year awards, multiplayer, single player, and then our overall experience. So we are starting this year with single player Experience of the Year. The votes, the way that this is considered, these are multi-year awards. They are, the only thing that quantifies them is they have to have had an update or a DLC, something substantial within the 2025 calendar year. But they are your favorite experience in this area. For single player, it is your favorite single player game. It doesn't mean it's only single player, it's just a primarily single player experience that we're talking about here. So I have elected to read these ones this time, so I'm going to go ahead and read the nominees, then we're going to talk about them. Single player nominees. Single player Experience of the Year nominees for 2025 are Atomfall, Slime Rancher 2, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33, and Hollow Knight Silk Song. Okay, so very excited to talk about these. I will save my thoughts to the end. Neil, what do you have to say about these?
Well, I mean, we've definitely talked quite a bit about Claire Obscure. I mean, at this point,
yes,
I'm not quite sure what else can be said, truthfully, without retreading old areas. From there, you know, Atomfall. We were talking about that a little bit before there with that just kind of giving you that super duper open world experience that really just kind of drops you into it. It's just you and the world, and that's about it. Slime Rancher 2 is one that I'm actually kind of surprised. I
was actually surprised it made the nomination list. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. And then Hollow Knight Silk Song. While I feel like Claire Obscure is probably in the front running for a Game of the Year situation, I feel like Hollow Knight Silk Song was probably the most anticipated Game of the Year.
Yeah, without a doubt. And it lived up to those expectations in a lot of ways. But Phil Billy, your thoughts?
I kind of agree. We've been hearing about Hollow Knight since the first game's success in that side-scrolling platformer. Isn't that what you would call that?
Metroidvania. Yes, side-scrolling platformer Metroidvania. Yeah.
And then I'm familiar with that as well as Claire Obscure, although I've played neither. But it definitely seems like everything on the list belongs. The Slime Rancher also does confuse me a little bit. But
I was surprised by that. Okay, so here's the reason that I wanted to do the single player nomination, because I wanted to talk a little bit about this. We talked about it a little bit before. My daughter, this is the first time she's participating in this other than just doing the voiceover. Hollow Knight Silk Song is like her game. And it's not a game that she normally plays, but she discovered it and became obsessed with it and dies on the first boss over and over and over again because that game is just too hard. But
it's very difficult.
It's of all the games to pick, I was like, oh, don't pick that one. But she plays it regularly. And she loves the character designs and everything, and I was just so excited to see her get excited about it. Slime Rancher 2 was another one that I have actually weirdly a lot of experience with Stella, so I'm kind of taking this nomination almost in proxy for her, because Slime Rancher 2 was something that she saw on Game Pass. She saw on Game Pass. She was like, I really want to play this game. This was a couple of years ago. It was in early access. I was like, sure. She played it. She convinced me to play it. We actually streamed it a couple of times on the channel together. It is a really fun, cool, cozy game, to be honest. And it's not multiplayer. You can't play it together. We played it at the same time with both of our screens on Discord so that we could watch each other in our downtime. And it was just really, really fun and interesting. I didn't think that would make it on the list, but we had another person who definitely played this game in the committee that I didn't realize had played this game and enjoyed it as much as they did. So we had a lot of votes, and it just ended up on the list. Adam Fall, I have talked about Adam Fall. I think Adam Fall did something that does the narrative and the storytelling and the mission structure different than any game I've ever played in a solo open world space. And Clair Obscur is Clair Obscur. There's not a whole lot more to be said about Clair Obscur at this point. That being said, I do want to point something out that I don't think has ever happened in the 7 years that we've been doing this. And that is all 4 of the single player games can only be played single player. Usually we have a couple of games in there that are directed towards single player but have some sort of multiplayer option. These can only be played by yourself. There's no multiplayer in any of these 4 games unless something has changed and I am mistaken.
No, I think that
I believe you.
From what I know, that's correct.
Yeah, because I think that's kind of cool. That's never had that. These games are. This is the truest single player experience that we have ever had ever.
Yeah.
Yes.
Would you guys like to add anything more to this before I read out the winner?
Not I.
All right.
No, I think we're good.
I'm going to open the proverbial envelope that is fictional. And the winner is, for single player, best single player experience of 2025 is, a true shocker, Hollow Knight Silksong.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
Very interesting.
This was not the
It appeals
tightest.
to a lot of people,
It does.
though.
It does, yes.
I think there's something about our committee that they're all gamers that they, even if they don't play, they know what this game is to a lot of people and what it meant for gaming, and that was enough to get a vote, you know?
Yeah.
Because this was a really, really close category. Like, really close. Not the closest. We talked about that in performance, but this is a really close category on the votes. Silksong won with 7 votes. Clair Obscur was the runner-up with 6 votes. And then Adam Fall was the second runner-up with 5 votes. And Simon Rancher 2 only got 2 votes. I kind of expected that. But, I mean, like, honor to be nominated in that sort of situation, I think. Mm-hmm. But yeah, really tight race. And
Very much so.
I know there was one little girl that is going to be super happy that one of her things actually won. She was convinced none of her nominations were going to win. So yeah. So that's single player. Do you guys have any extra thoughts to go into this?
No, sir.
No, not me.
I think this is going to be a record time Horrible Game Awards this year. It should be for everybody out there. We're trying to do 2 podcasts in one night on a weekday. So I think that's factoring in. But we will be right back with multiplayer experience of the year. Locked in.
Multiplayer experience of the year 2025.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that we're down to the last 2 awards. You guys know what they are. 2 of the big 3. We are at multiplayer experience of the year. As with single player, this is a multi-year experience. There must be a DLC or update that happens in this year, 2025, but otherwise it is considerable forever. Whatever you want to put here. It's one of the reasons it's so important to us. And this is, of course, for primarily multiplayer games. It does not have to be only multiplayer. They can have single-player options. But much like with single player, it has to be we're considering the multi-player experience first in this category. Now, Phil has the nominees. He's going to read them to us, and then we will give you guys our thoughts.
2025 Old Man Gaming's Horrible Game Awards multiplayer nominees are Grounded 2, Abiotic Factor, Arc Raiders, and a new one to tonight's list, Mecha Break.
Okay. All right. So, Phil, you want to start us off with your thoughts on these?
Sure. So, we've done a lot of talking about Arc Raiders as it showed up multiple times tonight. I'm unfamiliar with Abiotic Factor and Mecha Break, although I can make a couple guesses on Mecha Break. But Grounded 2, as I didn't play Grounded 2, I played a lot of Grounded, the original Grounded, so I'm familiar with, the premise of that game, and I believe it made our list on previous years, or
Many
the
years.
original game
Yes.
did for its multiplayer, which that's the one I'll talk about the most. I mean, I think it definitely belongs. That game lends itself, as it can be a single player game. From my experience, I had much more fun when you had, a couple close buddies going through it with you, building up your forts and going out and hunting your bugs to get your parts you needed to build that next that next gadget or what it may be. So I mean, I definitely see Grounded 2's place here, and then that's about all I got to say about this list.
All right, well, I'll go second. I'll let Neil finish this up. So, Abiotic Factor, I didn't play. I know what it is. It's kind of this kind of low-res crafting weird game, kind of crafting survival game where you're scientists trapped in an underground facility and you have to kind of like survive down there with monsters.
I do know that.
Yeah, some of my friends, actually some of me and Phil's friends, played a lot of this game. A couple of those friends are on our committee, so that's one of the reasons it made it in, but I can't speak too much to what it is. It looks like an interesting game. The other three I've played. I played Mecha Break quite a bit. It is a really cool Twitch deathmatch fighter with an extraction shooter mode where you pilot really cool mechs that were designed by the actual people who did like Gundam and stuff. It makes you feel like you're in a mech. It makes you feel like you're in an anime. There's a lot of explosions, pew pew pews. It's kind of cool. The only thing that hinders it is you really need to go in there with a team once you start to get good. Because it just starts to, once you get your rank up, you end up on teams that don't communicate against teams that just destroy you, period. Or you end up on a team with like a bunch of guys who communicate and then you're the odd one out and then you just destroy the other people. But it is a lot of fun. The design is really cool. Arc Raiders, we've talked a lot about Arc Raiders already on this show. This is another one that showed up a lot on our lists tonight. I don't think that is an accident. I think it's a good multiplayer game. The thing that I will say about Arc Raiders, especially now in the multiplayer, that I haven't said before, or I've alluded to it, but I haven't said it. Arc Raiders has a community that absolutely is like nothing else. When you are playing solo in this extraction shooter, there's like 1 or 2 times you're going to get jumped and killed. Whereas most of the time, you're actually finding and meeting people and working with them, and it creates these interesting moments of community. When I was playing it for my review, and it's great because it has this really good proximity chat in it, so people can hear you the closer you get to them. So basically, you walk in, and if you see somebody, you just start yelling like, friendly, don't shoot. I was going to try and find this little sweet spot under a bridge to loot. I saw another guy running up the bridge, and I was like, hey, friendly, don't shoot. He was like, don't shoot. I'm like, I'm not going to shoot. And then we both started running down the bridge. He's like, where are you going? And I'm like, I'm not following you. I heard about this sweet spot. And he's like, oh, I saw the same video on YouTube. And then the two of us who had just met spent the next 15 minutes failing to get into the sweet spot and falling off the bridge repeatedly and then healing each other to try and get into this spot before we finally just gave up and went our separate ways. But like, I don't think I've ever had an experience like that in a multiplayer game ever, where I just meet somebody random in a game where he could shoot me at any time. We just went and did this fun fucking thing, and then parted ways. That's really cool. That's kind of like what multiplayer gaming is supposed to be, and it never is. And Arc Raiders somehow pulls that off in its solo experience play. And then finally, Grounded 2. Grounded 2 is an awesome game. I love Grounded 2. Grounded was great, but Grounded 2 really builds on that foundation. The combat is way better in Grounded 2. It's more receptive, more responsive, it's more defined, it's a lot more fun to do. The buggies, like actually riding on an ant or a spider, is so cool. I played a lot of that game solo, but I also played a lot of it with Stella, and there's nothing like her screaming every time she sees her own pet ant. She just forgot it's behind her. And there's nothing anywhere like riding your buggies through the grass field together. That game is really cool. It's really fun. Building stuff together is really cool. It's a great multiplayer experience. So, all of that said, Neil, what do you got to add to it?
Unfortunately, not a whole heck of a lot, because this this actually is my weakest category. I really did not do much in the way of multiplayer this year. The only game that I really have any sort of familiarity with is Grounded 2, and that's just because of what I know of from seeing bits of Grounded, the first one. So yeah, I'm not
Picture that, but
better. It's got a 2 on the end. Yeah, it's I'm not exactly a wealth of commentary on this category.
That's fair. That's fair. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and grab the proverbial fictitious envelope and send the winner over to Philly.
All right. The winner of the multiplayer experience of the year is none other than Arc Raiders.
Arc Raiders. I think they deserved it as far as it goes. Although I will say I think the win goes a little bit more to the community of players on Arc Raiders than actually the people who made the game. But yeah, it's hard in the multiplayer space not to hear somebody talking about it, so much so that it has robbed you of your playmate.
It did indeed.
So you guys want to know the votes on this one?
Yeah.
Another close one. Another close one. Arc Raiders wins out with 9 votes, whereas Grounded is in second place with 8 votes. 1 vote again. Then we bring up the rear with a tie for third place with 2 votes between Mecha Break and Abiotic Factor. What I find interesting, how many categories this year were separated by 1 vote? 1 vote, 2 votes. Like, it's been really close, crazy year.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's more so speaking to the community itself and what they are all liking, because that tells me that everybody else is kind of jiving with the same stuff too.
Yeah.
Across the board.
Yeah, I definitely feel like, while I don't know that this has been the most crazy awards that we've done, I would actually give that to last year, where I just didn't know what was happening at any point in time with our categories. With this year, I will say I feel like this year's awards is more emblematic of our actual of our actual committee. I think everybody on our committee is probably going, right now, which is not, I don't think that's always the case. I think usually our committee is like, no, you're stupid. Why did that happen? All that said, guys, we got one left. It's the big one, the final one, Experience of the Year. We are going to take a quick break and be back with the big one.
Experience of the Year 2025.
Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to our last award, our most important award, the main event, as you will, okay? And that would be the 2025 Experience of the Year. How do you get nominated for this? Doesn't have to come out this year. Has to have an update within 2025, a substantial update. And it has to be the overall best experience that our committee has played, that our community has played, it has to be the big one that we all think of when we think of for 2025. So before we go into talking about these, Neil, why don't you read off the nominees?
All right. So for Experience of the Year, the nominees are Absalom, Dynasty Warriors Origins, Slime Rancher 2, and Claire Obscure Expedition 33.
Okay. I'll start us off because I'm champing at the bit. I think we all know what my pick is. The one I want to win is Absalom. It was the first one you said. I'm really surprised to see Slime Rancher 2 make this list. And just so that everybody out there knows, when I am doing the nominees, if I have a lot of ties or I only have one or two games that get a tally, like an extra vote, then I will pick the remaining nominees based on overall impact, right? That didn't happen this year. All four of these games had the most tallies, period. They were the most repeat nominations for Experience of the Year. So Slime Rancher 2 has every right to be on this list. All four of these games have every right to be on this list. And then, of course, Claire Obscure, everybody's darling this year. So, yeah, but I know which one I want to walk away with it. So, who wants to talk second? I'm always calling it.
Who wants to talk? It's like just laying it out there.
Phil, you talk, because Neil's going to finish this off. So you talk.
I honestly don't have much input, as we've talked about most of these games so far through other categories, in this show so far. So I don't honestly have anything more to add. Sorry.
But before I hand it over to Neil, I do want to say, just so that it gets its fair due, Dynasty Warriors Origins, I did play the demo for it. I think it was a really cool, interesting take on the Dynasty Warriors game. The fact that you play a character and you can actually kind of pick your weapon and interact with the world differently, kind of level that character up, I think is a really cool, good step in the right directions for Dynasty Warriors. I think Dynasty Warrior Origins is if they keep making Dynasty Warrior games in the Origins faction, I think that will be a real big hit going forward. All right, Neil, your turn.
All right, well, from here, Slime Rancher and Dynasty Warriors Origins, I really don't have a whole lot to say about. But I mean, Absalom is one of those, like when we did our nominations, I remember I intentionally waited until the last second because I had just gotten my copy of Absalom and I wanted to make sure that I at least gave it its due beforehand. And honestly, it stole one of the 3 votes that I was going to give to Claire Obscure. I mean, honestly, like straight up and down. The music, the animation, the roguelite elements, and I cannot stand run-based games. I loathe them. This does not feel like a run-based game in how it plays.
Yeah.
And then Claire Obscure, I mean, we've already talked about it, but just to wrap it up a little bit, I mean, the music itself is what made me play the game. Then when I started playing the game, I loved the system. I loved the ideas. The fact that you could switch into that third-person shooter style mode and take these actions in a turn-based game. And then the story itself just completely being so original, so unique, almost like D&D campaign-esque. And then after you think you know what's happening, completely flipping and recontextualizing everything in such an intelligent way. I love it. I absolutely love everything about that game. It's one of like my top 5 games I've ever played, honestly.
Well, and to add to that, the way they reinvented the turn basing, I think you might have said something about that. It's just like, that's pretty impressive too.
Action-based, turn-based. It's I love it.
All right. Well, all the talking is done, ladies and gentlemen. It's time to find out who the winner... I mean, the talking isn't done. We're going to talk for probably another 15 minutes. Who the winner is. I'm going to hand the final envelope of the night. Just picture it's a red envelope. because it'd be red. All the other ones would be white. This one would be red. I'm going to hand it to Neil, and he will read it out.
And the winner. And the winner is what? Say this again.
The one above it, man.
Oh! I was like, what?
I was trying to make a joke. I should make a joke with my envelope thing.
Claire Obscure. I was like, is it one of those things again? This is very much a Steve Harvey. There has been a mistake moment.
This is how we end it. This is the best way to end it. This is yes. Like we lead up to the biggest botch of the show. That's the main event is us. Oh, they're gonna fuck up. How they gonna fuck up?
The entire year has led to this point.
Yeah, Claire Obscure gets it. Congrats to them.
Yeah, I mean, I truthfully, there are very few when I take a look at like games and game award shows, like even with ours, looking at the nominations, looking like with Keeley's Winter Fuck Fest. I mean, this game is one of those. It's almost like no contest. I feel like against Claire Obscure at this point because it is just so huge and it's had so much praise heaped upon it. Yeah,
it has. I honestly, well, we'll get to it in a second.
And it's exciting to me that it's not a AAA game, and it came out with so much success. That's what I love the most about it.
I think one of the coolest things about our list is there are almost no AAA games on here. Honestly, they're almost all AA or single A experience games, and I think another thing that I found really cool is Claire Obscure. Man, that's great. I'm not saying one thing or the other, but it wasn't a sweep. You know what I mean? Like, we had a very wide range of well thought out categories. I think that's really cool. I always like it the best when we give out a lot of awards to different things and not just like with the exception of the Baldur's Gate 3 year where it was like, nobody's arguing. That's the one, right? like it's gonna win them all. Like I think that like it's just cool to see something different kind of win in and not really know what's coming. But the votes for this one, Claire, this is one of the only categories that was actually a knockout. Claire wins with 9 votes. Nowhere near it is Absalom with 5 votes in second place, which hurts my heart. And then we have Dynasty Warrior Origins with 4 votes in third place. And then finally Slime Rancher 2 with 3 votes in fourth place. And that's the experience of the year. I think it was a really good year all the way around for awards, though. We knocked it out of the park this year, I think, for what we had offerings wise.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, like looking back on the expectations for the year, and all of the games that we did have come out, and let's be honest, elephant in the room here, one specific game that did not come out this year and will be coming out next year, really kind of changed how this year hit overall. But I mean, honestly, yeah, it's pretty solid overall.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for the Horrible Game Awards of 2025, the 7th annual. I hope you guys enjoy this. I do. I always take this moment to thank you guys, the fans. You guys make this possible. I can't believe we have had a reason to do this 7 times. I cannot believe we have had a reason to keep this channel going for nearly 8 years now. So that is you guys, because look, I got 629 subscribers and I've got probably like 20 or 30 people who watch regularly, and you 20 or 30 people, that's what this is for. We appreciate you. We appreciate you coming back around. We appreciate you interacting with us and being here. You are the old man fam, as Phil Billy coined it, and will be forever. I do want to say a couple other thank yous. First, of course, my partner in crime for the podcast, Neil, aka Tiny Wizard. Thank you, sir, for continuing to come back and doing this shit show and many other shit shows with me repeatedly ad infinitum until we die.
Until we die. And then, even then, you never know.
Who knows? Shitty podcast in the afterlife. All right. And then, of course, Phil Billy, thank you for taking time out to come on the show, man. I know you're really busy and you got a lot of stuff going on, but it is really nice to get the Triforce back together and do our end of year shows. And this foundation, we're still together after all this time. I also have to give a special shout out to my daughter. I know I have mentioned her repeatedly. I know I am overtly proud as a father. I promise I won't do that again next year. But the reason I'm calling her out at this point is the little in-betweens where somebody goes, announces the awards. My wife has given that to my daughter last year. She did it. She's going to do it again. This year, you heard her voice in between every award announcing that was coming up. So I thank her for taking the time out to do that. And for really taking this seriously. I don't think you guys understand. When I told her she could be a part of this, it was like Christmas morning for her. And then she sat there with a notebook and wrote all the games in that she wanted to talk to me about. And then she came down and she gave her nominations. We worked on the list together, and then all sorts of crazy stuff. So it was really nice. I also want to thank all the community members who were in the committee. Asylum, Josh, I'm going to miss some. Please don't be mad at me. Kayla, Jason, as usual, Professor, you're always in there. William Houlin, thank you so much for your unabashed support. And if I missed anyone on that list, I apologize. Oh, and of course, Grandpa Gamer, my co-host for OMGM, who is also on the committee. So I thank you guys for taking your time out to get nagged by me to do votes and nominations. So with that being said, I will finally shut up. Until next year, we will see you guys. You guys keep watching and you keep listening. We'll keep making them.